setting up. And by getting set up, I mean get my laptop so I can maybe see a chat happening. If you're just joining the live stream here, hopefully you can hear me for one. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. I'm just getting my computer set up so that I can have my laptop open and also hopefully be able to see the live chat happening. We'll see. You know I get serious when my voice goes up. Yeah, I'm gonna put an end to that right now. So let's open YouTube on my end and see what we can see. So part of this experiment is that we do have a live stream already going on the Fennec Foxes, and I'm just trying to see if this overrides the Fox live stream, or can we have two streams going at once? So I am logged in over here on my computer. Let me turn it up so I can see if I can hear myself. Oh yeah. Or can we have two? Okay, audio's good. I turn up the audio on my laptop and I can hear it. Some of the team is rolling through right now. I do have noise reduction on. Maybe I'll just kind of leave the camera here and just have a seat on the bench. And we can just have a little talk. Now it is, what time is it? It is 1:29 p.m. It is 13:30 here in the United States. So just after lunchtime here in the central United States, it is exactly lunchtime or getting there on the West Coast. It's way after lunchtime on the East Coast. But, we'll see if I can catch you. If you have any comments, you want to just kind of chat with me, ask me questions. Now, I am a layperson. I do a lot of content for the museum, so I can answer some questions about the pendulum, about dinosaurs a little bit, but I am not a paleontologist and I'm not a physicist. I am a content creator for the museum. I hang out with all these specialists and scientists, and their information does glean onto me sometimes. So I figured this was more just about hanging out with y'all. Let's just watch the pendulum swing together. I may not even chat the entire time. I may not flap my lips the entire time. But I am here. I do have the chat open on my laptop as well. So if you want to type anything in there, say hi. Maybe you want to ask why the pendulum is swinging again, because the pendulum had stopped swinging for a few months. And now it is swinging again. So we can talk about that if you want. But I figure maybe we'll just sit here for 30 minutes, whatever. Just have a little chat by the pendulum that is swinging so hypnotically. I'll turn the camera around just for a split second so you can see me, just for a second. Hi, Johnny Hemberger, HMNS YouTube and podcast manager here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science. We are just looking at the pendulum, so I'm going to flip it back around so you can see what you really want to see, because you probably really don't want to see my face when there's a pendulum right there. So let's watch the pendulum and let's just hang out for a little while. And I'll check the comments to see if anyone has any questions, or if I stop talking and people just say, hello, Earth to the museum, is anyone there? So let's just walk. You know what? I may change the angle a little bit, at least for a moment. We'll see. Can you see the pegs over there? There's general public, so I don't want to kind of show too many faces that are unwilling to be on camera. Let's see if I can rotate this a little bit. So, there are the pegs. Every few minutes, let's zoom out. How do I zoom out? Let's zoom out. There we go. Whoop. Working the camera, pinching the screen on a live stream on YouTube is kind of tricky. I'm not really testing it at the moment, but I know in the past, stabilization seemed to be deactivated on the phone, on the phone camera when you're running live streams on YouTube at least. I don't know if that's fixed yet or what. But yeah, I may actually get closer to the pendulum because I don't want to show so many people who don't really want to be on camera or don't know they're going to be on camera. Let me move this a little bit closer. and maybe in a position where we can see a peg fall. So let me raise this up, tilt this down so you can see it a little better. And let's just hang out. Maybe see a peg fall. Ooh, we are a little ways away from the peg falling on this side. Ooh, it's way closer on the other side. Can I zoom in a little bit? Let me see. Pardon my camera movements. Yeah, the peg over there is way closer. So I'm gonna leave it on that peg. I'm gonna get my stuff closer. If it falls over while I'm not by it, congratulations, you saw it and I didn't see it. So I would put that peg at, well, the next few minutes. The next few minutes, I would say that peg is gonna fall over. I'm walking away from my camera just for a second to get my backpack. Make sure no one ganks my backpack or my laptop. And I'll walk back over to the camera. Still there. We've got a lot of school groups. And I know from being in elementary school, that's a little mob mentality sometimes. So, we'll just hang out. Pardon me. Okay. I'm here. The chat is open if anyone wants to ask anything, say anything, say hi to me, ask about the pendulum. I'll just let y'all know for the few people who are watching who showed up to this impromptu live, which, by the way, this live is a bit of an experiment to see if I can stream two things live at once. We have the Fennec Fox exhibit. We've had 24 live streaming for weeks. And I also started this live stream. So apparently we can do two streams at once. Let's just hang out by the pendulum and watch the peg fall. So for anybody who has followed the channel for a little while, for the past few months at least, the pendulum was not working for, I want to say a couple months. I forget the exact time period. It seemed like forever for us. And I said when the pendulum wasn't working, that it wasn't like to us, it wasn't like a broken vending machine. It was like a dog that needed to go to the vet. You know, this pendulum is a staple of life here in Houston, Texas. So many of us have grown up with it. It has been in our museum since the early 70s. So over 50 years, around 50 years, it has been swinging almost constantly. Sometimes it has stopped manually to clean things or do whatever. But yeah, it had stopped. There was a power surge that we had to turn on and off this section of the museum to, install a new exhibit or service an exhibit. And when we threw the power back on, the pendulum did not activate again. You have to start it. Somebody has to pull the pendulum back to let it swing in the first place, but it didn't stay swinging. So we thought, oh no. This was right before the holidays, by the way. It was a very busy time of year. So our maintenance people, our exhibits team couldn't physically get up there. So way up at the top, pardon me, I'm gonna move the camera. I think we're okay on that peg. Way at the top, can you see it? There's all the gutty works of the pendulum. I'm gonna go back to the peg. Sorry for the screen movement. And we were worried that something up in that gutty works that you can only access from the roof, something was broken or misbehaving. But like I said, it was around the holidays and our team was all busy on other things, couldn't get to it until after the new year. And we kind of feared, did something fry? And that was scary because if something fried up there, if one of the circuits fried, this is a bespoke Foucault pendulum. You can't just go to Micro Center or Best Buy and buy parts for it, off the shelf. This was built in the 70s, designed in the 60s or earlier by a gentleman, I forget his name, who passed away since, adding to the nail biting of the entire situation. The guy who designed it passed away. The parts were created by hand, all the resistors and coils and different things, running the magnet at the top. And the magnet at the top, all that does is maintain the momentum It does not alter inertia at all. It's decoupled from the ceiling with a ball bearing collar. The electromagnet on top does a little tug on the collar up there just to maintain the momentum against mechanical friction and against air resistance. So anyways, that mechanism wasn't working. We feared the worst. We were finally able to get up there and diagnose, do the maintenance. And we found, thank God, nothing had fried. There was no smoke, there was no sizzles, no blown capacitors or anything like that. The flux capacitor was fine. And all it took was some zhuzhing of the controls. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, dude? Good to see you, bro. Ryan the paleontologist. We've got content with Ryan on our YouTube channel y'all can go check out. Brilliant dude. Awesome guy all around. But anyways, the components of the pendulum were not damaged. And I have pictures. We took pictures when we were up there, little video clips. I'll show you in a later video kind of what was going on, but it all just needed to be readjusted. Like the amplitude and the duration that the electromagnet stayed on to do the little tug on the collar, that had to be readjusted to maintain the rhythm that you see now. If it's too strong, then the brass bob crashes into the glass. If it's too weak, then it doesn't reach the pegs to knock them over. So we had to rejudge those electronics and dials to make sure that our pendulum operates as it should. And that's what we're watching right now. We're just watching the pendulum go back and forth. Reading Ryan's comments here. The chat is open. Plaster jacket. Ooh. Phytosaur skull. Awesome. Am I pronouncing that right? Phytosaur, Ryan? Yeah, pendulum's in working order. We were wondering if it was a bad omen for the city, but depends on how you look at it. Phytosaur, awesome. So I don't know how long Ryan's going to be in the chat. Ryan's a paleontologist who has done a lot of work for our museum, in the paleo lab and otherwise, and out in the field. So if you have paleontology questions and you're in the chat, you should let her rip now because we got Ryan. Sorry, Ryan, I'm throwing you under the bus a little bit. I'm volunteering you for something that you may not want to be volunteered for at the moment. But, you know, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, I know a little bit from hanging out with people, so I could answer very basic questions about paleontology. I can answer very basic questions about physics and the pendulum. Ryan says it's all good to ask him paleontology questions. So if you have any questions about prehistoric creatures, let her rip. Oh, pizza, here we go. New comment right here. Back in 1998 as a kid, yup. Oh, pizza. I'm gonna call you Pizza. I would have been here at the same time, 1998. I was going to a private school in North Houston, in Humble. It was called Northeast Christian Academy at the time. I forget what it's called now, Covenant or something like that. But yeah, we took trips to the museum. 1998, what year? What? I would have been 15. Okay, so that would have been like ninth grade thereabout. And if you lived in Houston, you've come to the museum a lot as a kid on field trips. And I remember thinking, I'll just say it's an amazing opportunity to work for this museum. And if you would have asked me at 12 years old or 15 years old, hey, do you think you're going to be a rock star or do you think you're going to tell stories for the museum? I would have said, I think a rock star is easier because there's no way you can make a career telling stories for a museum, recording podcasts and things. First of all, podcasts weren't a thing back then, but the idea of being able to just help tell museum stories and make content for the museum, that was so far-fetched to me. I would have thought, no, it's easier to be a rock star. But here I am. In a roundabout way, music has led me to the museum. Went to sound school and everything. But yeah, so I grew up going to the museum, so it's wild that I get to actually work here and start up impromptu live streams. You're probably wondering when that peg's gonna fall over. And any minute. Now, when you say any minute in regards to a peg falling over for a Foucault pendulum, it's any minute or it's like any 10 minutes. Sometimes the pegs fall over more quicklier than others. It depends kind of how they're spaced out, and they're supposed to be in a set space. Like we did a video showing how we set up the pegs, and there's a little brass brad at the bottom of each peg that goes into a little divot in the wooden ring. But times of year, they fall over faster. It precesses around the perimeter faster. More accurately, we precess around the plane of the pendulum. It is the Earth's rotating underneath the pendulum. That is the whole reason a Foucault pendulum exists, is it demonstrates many facets of physics. And it's so beautiful because the pendulum looks so simple. And in a way, it is so simple. A heavy thing going back and forth, knocking over pegs. It's just fun to watch. The rabbit holes of physics that you can go down when studying the movement of a pendulum, you can go to school for years to try to understand. I will say that the rate of precession depends on the latitude you are on the Earth's surface. So at the North Pole and South Pole, it goes around the perimeter, or we rotate underneath it a lot faster. Let's see if I can get the adjust the exposure. It got a little wacky. Come on. I wish I had more control over exposure. Anyways, we'll see. Anyways, at the poles, the precession is much faster. The pegs fall over much faster throughout the day. At the equator, or at the equator, it doesn't precess at all. Whatever direction you pull the pendulum back is the direction it swings forever, and it does not precess. It does not knock over any pegs. That being said, whatever direction, I've had this question asked before, does it matter what cardinal direction you pull the pendulum back and let it go? If you pull it back going north to south, will it stay going north to south? If you pull it back going east to west, will it stay going east to west? And the answer is yes. It doesn't matter what direction you start the pendulum, it will maintain that inertia, that plane of going back and forth, that period, and everything, the direction really, it won't deviate. We deviate around it. It will preserve its momentum, it will preserve its inertia. It's one of the ways we demonstrate how the Earth rotates, and that it is rotating because we rotate underneath it. Pizza, you said I was in 3rd grade? Up in the Woodlands, yeah, man. Yeah, Museum District, yeah, and it is, gosh, the Museum District since the late 90s is just, it's gone nuts. The city has grown, and that's an understatement. I lived in the Woodlands for 4 seconds. In 2006, I lived off of Sawdust. I lived in a part of the Woodlands. Apparently, it was the first subdivision of the Woodlands. I guess it's called Grogan's Landing or Grogan's Mill. But I lived there in 2006 in an apartment for a year and a half. And truth be told, I was very depressed when I lived there. I was in my 20s and had broken up with a girlfriend, and I don't remember any sunshine during that period of my life. I had really bad insomnia. And yeah, it's just a sad time, but I made it through, and thank God I'm here and able to tell stories at the museum. Life gets better. So I worked at the Cheesecake Factory in the Woodlands. Pizza, if you're still there. That Cheesecake Factory in the mall, I worked there for a year or two while I was going to MoCo. Yeah, Woodlands Mall, I agree. So I grew up in Kingwood, and we had the Deerbrook Mall, and it was not like the Woodlands Mall at all. We won't talk about the Galleria. Grogan's Mill, yeah. Thanks, pizza. Yeah, when I was in Grogan's Mill, I had a little electric dirt bike. Back then, it was lead acid. It was not lithium batteries, so you started out at 13.5 volts and rode it, and it steadily got slower and slower as you rode. But I remember taking that little dirt bike, electric dirt bike, around everywhere. It was a 24-volt setup, two 12-volt lead-acid batteries, and I would charge it up every day, and I would cruise that around the Woodlands. And there was like a middle school nearby that apartment where I grew up, and I would take it around the track and up and down the dirt piles and things like that. So I did have fun. I was depressed when I don't have chronic depression, but when I lived there, I definitely was depressed. It had nothing to do with the Woodlands. It's just the time in my life. You know, you're in your early 20s and not know. I was 23, you know. We won't get too deep into it, but, you know, you see your friends like succeeding and quote unquote succeeding, you know, working for oil companies. Meanwhile, they're having heart attacks and anxiety attacks and being wheeled off in stretchers. And I'm like, is that? So I was like, is that what I'm supposed to do? Am I supposed to get this really good job in oil and gas? And I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And then I'd see my friends dropping like flies from anxiety attacks and cardiac issues. And like, actually, maybe the money's not worth it in that regard. So what do I do? So yeah, that was early 20s was a very poignant time in life for a lot of young people, and especially me, and also me, not especially me, but also me. I was making a lot of music back then. That is one kind of, I don't want to say bright side, but music definitely kept me sane, making music. And my single core processor, my Celeron, Pentium 3, whatever, and using Cakewalk Sonar. Yeah, I recorded a lot when I was there. Happiness is so much better than money. I have, you know, since we're just having a little fireside chat by the pendulum in this peg that's apparently made of a magnet repelling the bob away from it. Since we're having a little fireside chat, what was I talking about? I'm talking about when I was depressed and making music. I lost my train of thought. Maybe the chat can help. Yeah, oh yeah, there you go. Happiness is way more important than money, yes. So now I'm very happily married. I have 2 kids. I've got a 5-year-old and an almost 2-year-old. And I had a nightmare the other night where I was here at the museum working, and a huge, I'll just, long story short, a big company wanted to hire me, like as a consultant. And I was like, okay, as long as I can keep working at the museum, as long as I can keep telling stories for the museum. So in the dream, they're like, all right, you already got $10 million in your account and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how? How did I earn the money? What's up? What's going on? Let me turn the camera around. Mike, our photographer. What's up, Mike?
This guy.
This guy right here.
All about this guy.
In the museum. So anyways, in the dream, I made all this money. And then the nightmare part of it was that I turned back around again and my kids were grown. My 5-year-old was now like 12. My 2-year-old was now, 5 or 6 and like really intelligent and very smart and could speak eloquently and everything. And the nightmare was that I made all this money, but I missed most of their lives. And the nightmare was also that I didn't know who they were. Like we were trying to reconnect. Like, Daddy, we haven't seen you in years. What are you into? What are you into? We're trying to find common ground again. Because as I know life right now, I'm very blessed to have lived a life where I could, both of my children, I've seen from seed to sprout to becoming little boys and everything. I have been there every single day. I've been able to put them to bed every single night, read them stories every single night, change thousands of diapers. I've been there every step of the way. I'll tell Mike you said hi. I've been there every step of the way for my kids. And so the nightmare, the dream was like, yeah, you made $10 million, but you don't know who your kids are. You missed so much of their life. Like, that is a weird dream. That is a weird dream that might be semi-unique, because I think unfortunately, there's probably a lot of parents out there who would trade missed time for money. And the fact of the matter is that is the way it is for most people. You have to do what you have to do to survive and provide for your children, and that means missing a lot of things, unfortunately. But I am very lucky, very blessed that is not my life. So I have nightmares where I do miss things. Once upon a time in 2022, I got to go, let me zoom in again. That peg is like resisting. See if I can zoom in better. I'm sorry for zooming on YouTube is cruddy. Okay, there we go. Gosh, I wish the exposure wouldn't keep. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, I went on a dino dig. I went to dig for fossils in the Walk Quarry, Ryan, in the Morrison Formation in Wyoming. And we were out there for 10 days. And my first son was a year and a half old, and I was missing him very dearly. So I was like doing this awesome opportunity to dig for dinosaur fossils. At the same time, like, oh man, the only thing that would be better for me than digging for dinosaur fossils in this beautiful landscape is changing my kid's diaper, which is such a weird thing to say. So we're at about the 25-minute mark. I think the way things are going, how long this peg is taking to fall over, how long it's taking the Earth to rotate underneath the pendulum right now, I may start wrapping it up after the peg falls. So if you're watching right now, we're gonna keep streaming until the peg falls or until there's a fire to put out elsewhere. It is 1:54 p.m. Central Time, 13:54 on the 24-hour clock if you're elsewhere in the world. Yeah, we're just having a little fireside chat by the pendulum waiting for this peg to fall. I swear there's a force field around it. Gosh, usually what starts happening before the peg falls is it'll wiggle a little bit, it'll nudge, basically electrons will touch and it'll just jiggle a little bit. There we go. It happened, and I know about it before you do because of delay. Oh, there it was. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Peg fell over due to gravity and force. Now, if this stream had like 100,000 people watching, you'd see like 20,000 people drop off after the peg fell. The next peg's gonna take. The next peg, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. We're so far away. It's gonna be like another 30 minutes at least before the next peg falls. Let me zoom out a little bit. Oh, I touched it and it broke. All right. Hey, LA. Got more people in the chat now. Maybe I'll keep it going just for a minute or two. Let me move my laptop out of the way. This is just YouTube running. I'm just watching the comment waterfall. So yeah, we're just chilling, watching the pendulum do its thing. It's gonna take a long time before another peg falls over. I just thought it'd be fun to have a little fireside chat and run this experiment of can one YouTube channel have two live streams going at once? And I think the answer is yes, because we should have the Fennec Fox live stream going at the same time. Super cute. They are. I'll comment if you're gonna go check out the Fennec Fox live stream. They tend to be nocturnal or diurnal. What is it? They're more active in the evening and in the early morning. That's their natural biology, is they're hunting and they're eating at those times in the cool of night. You're okay. But you can still see them going around. Sometimes they go in there for enrichment, where our keepers will go play with them and love on them and give them treats and all the fun things and the toys. But yeah, if you go check out the Fennec Fox live stream right now, you may not see them running around, or you might, but your chances of seeing the foxes running around are increased in the morning. All right, I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. So thank you all for joining me here. I'm gonna turn the camera around just for a second, give you an up the nose shot of me. It's been fun. I'll put it back around. It's been fun. Thank you for hanging out with me for a minute. We'll do this again sometime. Now that I know that we can have multiple live streams going at once, I'm more apt to do this kind of thing. So I will keep talking while I figure out how to exit out of the live stream. Good to see y'all too. Ryan, good to see you. Don't be a stranger. We miss you around here. Maybe there'll be opportunities for collabs in the future. We'll be in touch, of course. Let y'all know, a little behind the scenes. I filmed more about the crinoid today with Candace. We asked the question, So why isn't it a plant? And Candace answers, well, the metabolism is more along the lines of an animal, and the way it gets food is different, so it's different from plants. It's not a plant. But she goes into more depth than that. So I recorded more crinoid material today. I also recorded stromatolites, some of the earliest fossils created by the earliest life. So I did a whole write-up and recorded about stromatolites. I'm going to have that information vetted, make sure I'm getting everything right. So we got stromatolites coming up, content. We got more giant crinoid content coming up. Oh, and the podcast was just approved. I have not published it yet, but the next episode of the Beyond Bones podcast is approved. So, and that is where I talked to Colin Diggins, our paleo lab manager, about radioactive dinosaur fossils, radioactive fossils, not just dinosaur fossils, but the idea of radioactive fossils in general. Yeah, LA guy, awesome. LA plant guy, yes. Cool. I'm glad you're subscribed to the podcast. So that episode, I want to publish it sooner than later. I try to publish them within once a month of each other, sometimes more. It all has to do with the vetting process and how kind of long that takes. But new episode of Beyond Bones podcast about to drop, having to deal with radioactive fossils. In the video version of it, you can see that I'm holding a Geiger counter, because Geiger counters are $25 on Amazon now, which is crazy. How accurate they are for $25? I don't know. I was just cruising on Amazon on the back of my minivan on the way home from Virginia, and I was like, I'm going to buy a Geiger counter, and I'm going to bring it around paleo and see if there's any radioactive fossils. And I guess you'll just have to listen to the podcast or watch the podcast, either or both, engagement, and see Colin and I talk about radioactive fossils. What else? What else is coming up? Oh, we got so much content in the can that we're going to be dripping out across all our platforms. We just released, I haven't released it on YouTube yet, but on our TikTok, we made a video with my youngest son. Dimetrodon is not a dinosaur. So you have my youngest son get possessed by a spirit and tell daddy, me, all about why Dimetrodon is not a dinosaur. Ryan, I know you'll love that one. So, anyways, lots more content coming out. Stay subbed. Tell your friends, family to sub if you want. All that jazz. I have no idea what the algorithm wants anymore. Thank y'all for joining me, and we'll do this again next time. I always love talking to y'all. Ryan, LA plant guy. I can't read that. Ian Thal? Thank you. Yeah, you missed it, but you can scrub back. What's going on, Alex? Hey, let me turn the camera. I know I was gonna end the live here, but Alex is here. So the latest version of the podcast that's up right now, the latest episode, is Alex and I.
Oh yeah.
Talking mineralogy and minerals and geology and the Alma Queen back here in the current Gem Hall. So if you haven't listened to that podcast yet, go check that out. Alex is a geologist.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It was super.
I've gotten a lot of feedback from people about it, and I hope to be doing it again. If y'all have questions, send it on to him, and we'll get all your questions and try and get them answered.
Definitely. We are definitely going to do more geology podcasts. So, all right, now I promise we're really going to wrap up. I've got the microphone off. Thank y'all so much for joining us. We'll talk to y'all later. See ya. Now here's the awkward time where I'm like, how do I turn this thing off? Let me pull my glasses down boomer style. Is this the button? Do I do it here? Okay.